This is the EVP Podcast.
You heard it. Just happened just now. You are listening to the EVP Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Beaker.
And I'm Ghosty McGhostface.
And I'm DVO.
And we finally got the intro after like 10 minutes of debating on how we're going to do the intro. So there it is.
No singing involved.
Or humming. we were going to do a hum for you, and we decided not to.
It was the most manliest hum.
But you're welcome.
I was a little turned on.
You should be. Everyone should be.
Well, this is going to be a fun little podcast. I think this episode.
It's all dedicated to the listeners this time.
Yes.
Thank you guys. And our followers.
Followers, listeners, we got
Viewers
stories.
on the YouTubes. Everybody.
The tubes. Thanks for everybody on the tubes.
I think we got some good responses, too. So I'm excited to get into it.
If you already don't know where to find us, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at evp.pod. You can also find us on YouTube. It's the EVP Podcast. Tell your friends.
You can find us here in Salt Lake City, wandering the streets.
Panhandling.
Yeah, we don't have a Patreon set up, so that's how we get our money for our investigations.
Need money for investigations. No, we're not homeless. No, we have plenty of food in the fridge, but we need to rent places out.
We all have very well-paying jobs, but we need your money to investigate. Which is why you can find us on State Street.
On the corner of 7200
South and State Street.
Oh,
We're
Beaker.
Open Monday through Friday till 8, Saturday till 5, closed Sundays. Also available online at, we don't have a website. But if you're from Utah, you probably sort of recognize that commercial.
Yes.
Where are we going? Yes. No. We're selling ourselves on State Street.
So, Beaker, me and Ghosty were just talking. There is going to
Ghosty
be...
and
Ghosty and I... we're just talking about a new movie coming out in January of 2022.
Is it the Resident Evil movie?
Nope.
Oh,
it's
good.
the Scream movie.
There's another Scream 5
That's
or
what we
6 or
said.
7 or 9 or 12.
We don't know. No one really asked for this, but here it comes.
Yeah, the movie
There's
that
a-
nobody asked for.
There's a
is
lot of
coming out.
movies that no one's asked for. Resident Evil, they have another one coming out.
But that's like a prequel, isn't it?
I have no idea.
I think it's a prequel.
I think it is a prequel.
It looks terrible.
I haven't looked into it.
I couldn't get into the...
Speaking
any
of things
those.
that nobody asked for, did you know that
This
there was another
podcast?
day? So do you know how there was All Hallows Eve, All Hallows Day, All
Yes.
Souls Day? Well, did you know there was another day dedicated for your kind?
Be here. You're talking about you.
On the same day as Guy Fawkes Day,
Oh,
November
Jesus.
5th.
Is there like a ginger day?
Well, it's a National Redhead Day, or as I like to call it, No Souls Day.
Uh-huh.
I have souls. So every freckle I have on my shoulder is the soul
that you
I have
sucked.
stolen.
Yep.
Stolen.
All from our listeners.
That you feed off of.
Yes. That's how I gain my power. And this is how I do energy work.
I steal your energy.
I steal your energy, consume it, and store it in my freckles on my shoulders.
I had a great visual in my head on
Each
that.
energy healing I do creates a new freckle.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, dear.
Oh my God.
That was good. That was good.
can't
No
go on.
Souls Day.
I'm laughing too hard. So
That was good.
that oh my, I can talk. That reminds me of a comment we got on YouTube. I had it. I don't have it now, but we did get a comment on YouTube, and it basically this is the same thing. The comment I hear the most about our show. But he says, "Awesome guys, thank you for answering my questions. You guys, I had you guys thinking for a minute.
That was
We did,
yeah.
We answered some questions last week, and I was reminded that I should have already known about this when we talked about the blood and the spiritual component to blood.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. So in certain religious practices, I guess, or in like witchcraft, there are blood spells. So you can use blood to cast spells. So there is a spiritual component. And the person that reminded me brought me the phone and was playing that part of the podcast. And she's like, "You should know this."
You should know better.
Yes. So
I don't see. I can get off the hook because I don't know any better.
that was my fault. I should have known that, and I didn't for some reason.
You can take the blame for all of that.
I'm taking the blame. I should have known better. Yes, there are such a thing as blood spells. So yes, there is a spiritual component to blood. But then he goes on to say, keep it up. You guys keep me entertained. And then he went on to say that my voice is too baritone and it messes up the speakers in his truck.
Yeah, speak up. Speak up, Beaker.
Apparently I need to talk like this for the rest of the show.
Increase the energy.
Can't do that. Nope.
I think it's me, Beaker. I'm here to dance and sing and do a jig and tell ghost
I'm here to suck your soul dry.
So yeah, that's like the number one comment I hear. Is we're very entertaining. People find us funny, but we're also informative.
That's what we like to do.
So yeah,
make you laugh and then suck your soul dry.
Suck your soul. Store it in my freckles.
All right. So this episode, we actually talked about, hey, let's talk about, we've got a lot of comments. We've had a lot of people share. They've emailed us. They've DM'd us. And we want to now kind of put some of that together and share with you guys listening what some of our listeners and viewers are saying and questions they've got. We posted a Q&A session on our social media, and we got some good response. We got some good stuff we're going to talk about.
So let's start with
and spooky stuff.
Should we start with these guys first? The Ghost and Grub.
These guys on Instagram are Ghost N Grub, like the letter N.
Ghost N Grub.
So from kind of what I get of it, their logo is like a hamburger ghost.
Hamburger ghost.
It looks kinda, I like
the concept. Guys. I like the whole concept of food and ghost hunting.
Yeah, they're trying food. They're kind of giving their ratings on the food of where they're going to investigate.
Which, I mean, when we investigate, we also do that. We like to go out and eat first, or like if we're investigating a place that it offers food, we like to eat there first.
Why do you think I took you guys to Family Tree so much?
Well, yeah, I mean that was one of the big ones.
Scones, we got to eat and then investigate. Scones. We didn't have to drive somewhere else, but they're closed now.
Yep, they're sold off. But anyways,
for about a year.
Yeah, the whole concept that they do is pretty badass. I like that. And then the Salem episode that we had.
Yes,
that's when they commented about it, and then they sent us some EVPs from a video they created in Salem, along with a couple other videos. But let's talk about this first one.
In Salem?
In Salem.
Okay.
They were showing, there was a green light above this one building in there. And I didn't get much from that.
Did you watch the video, Beaker?
No.
Yeah, me and Gosi just watched it. But
so this green light, I mean, they showed it. There was like taking pictures every 30 seconds. The exposure was open. I mean, there could have been reflections going on and capturing different lights.
Yeah, when you're taking pictures of a building with windows, it's kind of hard.
It can cast reflections off, and then when it hits your lens of the camera, too, it can create different light effects. And especially with it just being stationary like that, because when you pick up the camera and you kind of move it around, you'll see how that, whenever a light anomaly you think it is will follow the camera.
Yes.
And then you can tell automatically, okay, this is nothing paranormal. This is just some kind of reflection happening with the lens. Hard to tell with this situation because the camera is just stationary.
Yeah, I've seen someone's video where it looked like they saw something kind of floating through the sky, and it just happened to be it's actually a reflection from a street light that was actually, maybe 20 feet away from them. But as you kind of rewatch and you have that in your mind, you're like, oh yes, that's the reflection from the street light. That's 20 feet away. So something like that can cause different type of like light flares.
So yeah, I didn't think too much about that. There wasn't really much going on with that, to me anyways.
Did you know that if it was actually paranormal or spirit energy and it's green, it's actually bad? That's negative energy.
Spooky energy.
Well, green is usually the sign of something inhuman, negative, demonic, possibly. Basically, if you're dealing with the paranormal, you see a green light, you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to go to it.
Green is Disney lets you know that because in all the Disney cartoons, anything that glows green is bad news.
Well, I thought green was the horny color. So is it a succubus then?
It is a bad succubus.
Or it could be an incubus.
Or it could be an incubus.
Or it could be the Green Goblin.
He's coming back, you know.
The Green Goblin succubus. Yes. The Green Goblin.
You're the only one laughing.
Yes.
So it must be funny.
To me.
All right, so keep going. These guys are in Salem.
So anyways, so they're in Salem. That light, didn't think too much of it. Then they had a couple EVPs. There was some that it was kind of a stretch. Didn't really hear that too much. But there's other one.
And keep in mind, these are just our opinions on these EVPs, and we're going to play some of these for you. and we'll let you know when we're gonna play it. We're not just gonna like throw it in there. But these are just our opinions. Keep that in mind. Make up your own mind on what you think you hear or what they heard.
So on this first one, which EVP are you gonna play first?
I don't have any from the Salem one. I didn't catch much from Salem.
The one that I thought that stood out was the one that he thought said "sleuth my energy."
That's not Salem.
That wasn't Salem.
That wasn't Salem?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then I put that in the wrong place.
That's okay.
Okay, then yeah. So none of those ones in Salem that I thought that really stood out.
No, it was hard. It was very breathy noise. I really couldn't make out words myself.
Were they outdoors for that one?
Well, no, they were inside a bar.
One.
No. They weren't inside a bar. They were outdoors.
They were outdoors.
They were outdoors,
See,
and it
outdoors,
was.
They thought they heard a woman screaming.
Right. They thought,
Okay, that's the one you played one.
Yeah.
and it was being outdoors, and there could be a lot going on other streets, and the
Echoes.
audio recorder can pick up a lot of background noise.
Yeah, so they didn't hear anything with their ears, but they cut it in this grand. Yeah, it's yes, you hear some type of scream, but again, because they're outdoors, echoes bouncing off buildings that they might not have heard it with their ears. True, but it maybe got picked up from the recorders. So it's just really hard to say it was paranormal.
But is there a lot of spirits in Salem? Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely believe there are. So just in those recordings, nothing that really stood out to me that I thought were very significant.
Granted, I'm going to put myself in their shoes. If I was in Salem and I got this type of screaming that I didn't hear with my ears, and then I heard it in the EVP recording, yes, I might post about it and just say, what do you guys think? Which is exactly what they did, by the way. They're not claiming it to be paranormal.
Right.
They just are like, they asked the question, what do you guys think?
Okay, and then the next video they sent us was from Warren Tavern in Bunker Hill.
Which is in Charlestown.
And this one had the different EVPs that there was some that stood out.
Yeah, so I'm going to play some recordings that these guys sent us.
What's this one?
Let's start
this
out.
is
Why don't we?
in-
You've already talked about Sleuth My Energy, so why don't we start with that one?
Or we can go in order.
We can go in order.
Yeah, let's go in
Fine, we'll go in order.
So they are in this place called Warren Tavern, and real quick, they ate there. Okay, they got some lobster mac and cheese, and they said it was amazing. So if you're ever in Charlestown and go to Warren Tavern, check out the lobster mac and cheese.
Yo, how do we do like a joint investigation with these guys? I want to go eat some food. And
Yeah,
talk
I'm
to
totally
ghosts.
down with it.
We got to go to the East Coast. I'm down with going to the East
Yeah.
Coast.
We can do that.
So he's in Warren Tavern, and he kind of feels drawn to the back room. Kind of, I don't know where it is. He said he's
Where
felt
the bathrooms
drawn.
are.
Yeah, near the bathrooms. Now, remind you, he's eating there. He's at a pub.
It's
or a
active and
tavern.
it's open.
People are actually eating. You hear noise. So, ugh.
Is it the best time to do audio recordings? Probably not, but it's still, he got a quiet area and he did get some significant audio.
No, I'm gonna play this. It does get repeated. I think all these EVPs I'm going to play, they all get repeated numerous times, so you kind of get a chance to kind of hear them multiple times at once. Again, when you hear this one in Warren Tavern, you are going to hear people actually laughing in the background because they're in a tavern drinking beer. So, okay, here we go.
Is there anybody in here that wants to say anything in this tiny space? Mr. Warren, are you here? Speak into this device and I can hear you. What do you want to say? Do you want this place? What do you want us to know?
Now, what these guys do, they do turn up the volume when they hear the EVP because it's a different frequency, so they do turn it up. The only thing that I kind of got from that was the yep,
Yeah.
which was the middle.
When
That
it
was
like,
the
do
middle.
you haunt this
EVP.
place?
And I think the first thing they thought he said was, I know. And then the next
Yeah.
thing was, yeah.
I definitely heard the yeah or the yep when he asked if you haunt this place. The rest of it just kind of, to me, sounds like noise.
Yeah, it just sounds like noise, very breathy noise.
And it's really hard to pinpoint, like, you know, what's going on. Is he taking just like a small clip from, you know, a part, you know, just like seems there's a lot going on in the background.
Yeah.
And these things that sound like it could be yeah or whatever could be somebody from a table saying it really loud.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Yeah.
I don't like about when there's a lot of things going on. You know, somebody at a table could be saying something, and it to him sounds like an EVP because he can hear it with his bare ass ears.
Right.
But coming from another table, whatever, the audio recorder picked it up. But that's why I don't like these things that are like in an active place.
True.
All right, then what was the next one?
Well, he left and then went out to Bunker Hill. He went to, in the videos, he went to the statue and he was getting some K2 readings.
Well, didn't he go back in there later that night?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but everything in the meantime before that, was there anything significant there? Because I didn't really catch anything significant from that.
Not from there, no.
But when he came back, that's when there was...
We can play that one. That was the one where he thinks, it says, sleuth my energy, which we'll play. I'll just play it.
Can you turn off this device on my left hand? Can you make it stop going so red?
You keep picking up that little too close. It's that S sounds. That S sound is like really high pitched.
I'll put it back a little bit. Other times we played the EVP, I feel like we could have heard it louder. So I'll pull it back a little bit just so we have me playing this close to the mic, and I'll bring it back.
Can you turn off this device on my left hand? Can you make it stop going so red?
So that was
my energy.
I don't know if it's saying sleuth.
No, I don't think so either. It just doesn't make proper grammar. Beaker, you had a good idea of what you think it says.
Listening to it now, I don't know that it sounds like what I thought it
okay.
originally said. Originally, I thought he was saying save my energy.
Uh-huh.
But listening back to it just now, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Save my energy makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Especially when he's asking the questions.
It's better proper grammar than sleuth, but
it could be stop my energy.
It could be another language too. Where this is located at, and like during the time, it was a lot of people coming in from other places.
True, good point.
So it could be something either with another accent or mix of another language in there.
Yeah, very possible. The idea of sleuth my energy, I don't believe it says this, but I do think he's got a good EVP on
Yeah,
it.
I do.
Yeah, definitely a really good EVP.
That's a good EVP. So this is back at the Warren Tavern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This one is a very significant one with multiple words in the same voice. And, but yeah, just that first word it's hard to determine what that's saying. But yeah, very good EVP on that one. And then during that same time, I think he got one that said "Get out of here," right? Or was that later?
I don't remember. I don't have this one named. I can just play this.
But I do know there was a door rattling. There was a door that started rattling after this, and then he took off out of there. So maybe this
I'll
next
play
one.
This.
That he's approaching the door? Does it make you mad?
That's the "Get out of here."
Yeah, he thinks it says "Get out of here," and he was talking about. He mentions the door, and then he hears the door rattling, and he's like, "I gotta get out of here."
Yeah, that's when I think he left. Right.
I'll play it again. Because you had to kind of turn my play. Do you want me to play it again?
Sure.
Hear it again.
That he's approaching the door? Does it make you mad?
I think this is another pretty good EVP.
I just hear "get out," like the "out" is drawn out.
That's exactly what
Doesn't
I
make
just
sense.
hear. Just maybe get out. And then the door rattles. That's pretty significant, actually.
But that's a good EVP, though.
That is a good EVP. Now, there was quite a few EVPs. We're not playing them because I just didn't really catch. I just sounded kind of breathy, and I just didn't really catch much from it.
And then I think there was one last one from that Bunker Hill that was significant, where he thinks it's saying something, but I think it's saying something else.
All right, let me play it.
Is there anybody here that wants to make communication with us or communicate with us?
So he thinks it's an English accent saying, "What are you saying?" I'm thinking she's saying I think it's a female's voice saying.
Sounds like a female.
Are you shy?
Are you shy? Did you hear anything, Beaker, from that?
I can see that. I thought it said by your side.
Okay, you guys kind of pretty close. We play a little bit again.
By your side, okay.
Is there anybody here that wants to make communication with us or communicate with us?
Or at your side.
At your side,
Yeah.
by your side.
Another pretty good
Because, I
EVP.
To me, that would make sense. Like, that's a good response to, is there anybody here? Yeah, by your side.
Right. Good point.
That's
Yeah.
what I heard. I mean, I could be wrong, but this is
Right?
that's
Yeah,
what I think I
this
hear.
is all just kind of like what we think anyways. It's not.
But again,
for sure
another
fact.
good EVP.
Yeah, so we kind of feel like these 4 EVPs from the video that he sent us were pretty significant. The other ones is kind of hard to tell. It's
And he was getting some K2s going off and
Yeah.
everything, in which definitely lots of spirits wandering around there. So definitely could be, one of multiple spirits.
Yeah, he had some K2s going off where he was just standing still. And I was watching and I said, well, he should do some testing. And he finally did. He actually said, hey, there's a light post over there. Maybe there's some wires underneath the ground that's charging that. He put the K2 meter down to the ground. Nothing went off. He kind of put it back in the air. It kind of started spiking. No reason for it to spike the way it was. So yeah, it was a pretty good video that they sent us. And they put it on their reels. So you guys got to check them out. Ghost and Grub. So just the letter
and,
N. Ghost and
send
Grub.
us some more videos. Send us some more clips. Those are pretty good. We'd like to hear some more, guys.
And we'll have this on. I'll tag them in the social media. So when you're seeing the post about this episode, there'll be the tag. So you'll be able to find them through this that way too.
Yes. All right, we got a couple stories from another Instagram post. This comes from Paranormal on 2 Wheels. So me myself as a motorcyclist, I kind of like what they're about as well. Paranormal and motorcycles.
Is this another? Do they have a podcast or?
They have a YouTube channel, Paranormal on 2 Wheels. They've got they only have a few videos there, but they've done some investigation specifically at. They actually mentioned they like going to Randolph County Asylum, Waverly Hills, and Gettysburg. And I believe they're gonna have to share a story with us from the asylum. But this individual sent us a story about kind of his childhood, this first story. So again, they are Paranormal on 2 Wheels. And here we go. Do we have any like sexy music for the background? Some ominous sounds?
Who's gonna play
Probably
this?
not.
You were going to get your speaker to play it, but I don't know what happened to that.
Oh, I thought somebody already
That's
had
all right.
that set up.
We got nothing.
I think get your speaker, you got up and you came back down, and I guess you came with no speaker in hand.
Oh, interesting.
All right, so I'll just read the story. That's
You
fine.
want sexy music?
Some ominous, sexy music.
Ominous, sexy music.
I don't want boom chicka wow wow as I read a paranormal ghost story. Oh, here we go. Ooh, I like it. In my childhood home, we had a double-sided fireplace. You could see access from it from the front sitting room or the back living room. Several times I would see people walking past from the living room down the hall and into one of the back rooms. They would be talking, but I never heard what they said. Thinking it was my parents returning home, I would go down the hall calling for them and checking the 3 rooms they could have entered, and that would always be empty. At this home, I also heard knocks on the front door or on bedroom doors. We would be just feet away, and when the door was opened, no one would be there. We had a large window on the front of the house and on the front door, so the only 2 directions someone could have been let me repeat that. So the only 2 directions someone could have ran playing Ding Dong Ditch were fully visible. So they're saying nobody was around. We also had a bathroom door that would open and shut on its own, and only sporadically. You could hear the latch click as if it had been turned. It was also the one room in the house no one ever went into because it felt quote-unquote weird. I don't remember my parents even ever going in to clean it because of this. In this home, I also saw a shadow figure. I was maybe 10 or 11 and had fallen asleep on the couch in the back living room. I woke up one night and there was a chair diagonally to my right. The chair rotated, and sitting in it was a tall, shadowy figure with red eyes.
Wow.
It stared at me, and I froze in fear. I
Probably
shut
shut.
my eyes as tightly as I could and pretended to sleep.
I shut my...
About 5 minutes passed, and I heard my dad go into the kitchen connected to this room. He turned on the light, and in one motion, I leaped over the back of the couch and ran to my parents' room.
I can relate to that. I can definitely relate to that.
Okay, then he mentions another story. We investigated Randolph County Asylum this year where I felt touched twice. I saw an orb in the basement, walked around alone, and heard my name called. The name call was interesting because my niece and I were the only two awake when it happened, and when we asked the others about it the next morning, they didn't know anything about it. I also heard I think this wasn't in the asylum. I think they just said we investigated the asylum. But anyway, he saw an orb in the basement, walked around alone, and heard my name called. All right, the name call was interesting because my niece and I were the only two awake when it happened, and when we asked the others about it the next morning, they didn't know anything about it. So I'm not sure if he slept at the asylum.
I'm sure you can.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay. I also heard my name called a day or two later at home, and it sounded like my wife. But she was at work, and all the doors were still locked and shut. I even texted her to confirm she was at work. So pretty interesting stories.
Those are cool.
Yeah, so he heard his name at an asylum, then heard his name at home, but it sounded like his wife.
Maybe something followed him.
That's a good point. Maybe something followed him home from the asylum.
Cleanse your house.
I mean, and then the house growing up. I mean, that's interesting. Shadow people walking around in the house. And
That
then
one with the chair.
the chair turned. Did he say that?
Yeah, the chair turned.
turned.
That would freak me out for sure.
Ooh.
I would go jumping over couches too.
That would make me shit my eyes.
I would shat my eyes.
Oh man, those are some good stories. Anyway, I went to their YouTube channel. They've got some investigations at the asylum. They've also got some. They have a few videos. I didn't watch them all yet because they're about 30, 40 minutes, just kind of like our podcast is. And they just kind of follow around doing some investigations. But yeah, Paranormal on Two Wheels. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for listening. Thanks for connecting with us on social media. Great stories.
You know, if we were a good podcast, we would just edit music in after we got done recording.
It's okay. We're old school like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what? I found some.
What you got? He found sexy music. There's the half-naked chick on his phone right now.
Anything else you want to say about that? That's those stories about the shadowy person and the red glowing eyes.
You know, you guys weren't at this investigation, but I actually did an investigation with our friend Shane that runs Bear River Paranormal and does the BRP podcast. I did an investigation with, I think it was his first investigation at Family Tree. And he had his chair set up facing down this hallway that goes like, for anyone that's been there, they had the banquet room off to the east side of the building, I believe it was. And there's the little hallway that goes back towards the bathrooms. And he had a chair set up right there at the entrance of the hallway, and he was staring down the hallway, and he saw two red eyes just appear out of the darkness.
Interesting.
And then he got really angry after that. Like, it really affected him, so we had to take him outside and kind of cleanse his energy. And we had a priesthood holder there that gave him a blessing to kind of help calm him down. But so I haven't personally seen the red eyes, but I can only imagine just seeing what it did to him. Like, I can only imagine what it would be like seeing that as a kid.
10 or 11, he said, when he saw that.
That'd just be crazy.
Like right now, if you saw red eyes in the dark, what would you do today? I think I'd
Am I with
go
you
to
guys
it.
or am I by myself?
Both. Give both scenarios.
Oh, with you guys, it would probably be like looking into it a little bit. But if I was by myself, I'd be looking into my car and getting away from there.
I would be like, oh yeah, my eyes are red too. I'd be like, oh, you think you're cool? His whole body's red.
I guess my correct answer would be is I would still its soul and use it to do energy work.
I would like to think that I would actually go to it.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch it?
I
Would you
mean,
be like
I'll see
Steve
what
Irwin?
happens.
It's got red glowing eyes and it's going to kill me. I'm going to touch it.
I want to pick it up.
I would like to think that I would, just because I don't know. Like I would try to debunk it, I guess, and who knows what I would run into. But I like to think I would try to debunk it and get right towards it.
Do it.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm a wuss when I'm by myself, but if I have other people, I'm like, yes, let's go do it.
I would pull my phone out. I'd pull my phone out and start recording.
Oh, see, I didn't even think about it.
Then you would be TikTok famous.
And I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about my phone.
That's the thing that, nope, you got to think about it. You got to think about it.
That's true.
Documentation.
I like to think I would run at it like to be fast in case I try to run away. Like I would just run at it as fast as possible. That's what I think.
Nope, you got to go on Facebook Live. You got to go on Facebook Live. Like, all right, everybody, I see these red eyes. Here we go.
You're right. That is the best answer, really.
Yep. Like everyone's coming with me. I see these red glowing eyes. You're all coming with me. Here we go.
Someone dial 9-1, and when I say dial 1 again.
Exactly. Good story. Thanks for sharing.
Yes. Good story.
And I think there's another story.
We got another story.
We do?
That you're going to read.
We do. Yes.
I'll play the
play the sexy, ominous music.
Sexy background music. So, a few episodes ago, we shared a story from our listener friend, Josie. She talked about the incident in her house where she got home and she was sick, and she heard a voice that told her to go upstairs. She also talked about the dresser moving like a foot away from the wall.
Yes, yeah.
Her and her brother. So she has another story that she shared with us.
Wonderful.
And I'm just going to kind of read to this.
And this is an email, right?
This is an email, yeah. Okay. She emailed us at the evp.pod@gmail.com. But she was pondering what to share with us, and she just wanted to continue with what happened after she moved in with her aunt. She's had a lot of experiences. I guess it's a running joke in her family that she is the haunted house.
That's an interesting theory, though. Okay.
Yeah. So the stories, she's going to be sending them to us, or they came in series, and she just did that so it would be easier for her to remember what she had told us and not keep telling the same story over and over again, I guess. So I guess for a few months that she had lived with her aunt, not much happened, though there were nights where she would wake up from hearing things moving in the kitchen, and when she would investigate, one or more of the kitchen cabinets would be open. She would also often hear footsteps when she would be the only one home. It wasn't until she moved into her own place with her boyfriend at the time, and apparently she thinks she has a knack for just picking haunted places. And that's probably why it's a running joke with her family that she's the haunted place.
That makes me wonder, yeah.
I guess her first experience with her new apartment when she was with her boyfriend in the spare room making plans for the nursery. She was just standing there talking about where she would want the crib to go, and she felt a hand on her waist, and it started to grip her. And she even heard the fibers on her shirt being disturbed. She thought maybe that it was her own hand, so she went to place her other hand on top of it, and when she touched her own flesh, she panicked, started shouting, and that something touched her, and she started crying. It was a little hysterical, but she was also 7 months pregnant at the time, and she wouldn't go in the room unless she absolutely had to. That room just kind of gave her bad vibes, I guess. Her boyfriend at the time would also wake up and have 3 long scratch marks down his back, and it happened almost every night. She didn't remember if anything else would happen, but being a new mom, she kind of got a little too busy to kind of notice anything small. A lot of her experiences at the time was happening at work, and she goes on to say that she'll explain that in a different email. So she says then, if she can recall correctly, about 2 years later, when her daughter started talking, her daughter developed what most would call an imaginary friend. His name was Bobo. The first time that she had heard of him was when she was talking to her brother, and they were watching TV, and her daughter came up to him and asked her brother, "You want to play with Bobo?" And her brother asked who Bobo was, and she said, "My friend." When he asked where Bobo was, she went to the bathroom and pointed up into the shower. Her brother turned to her and said, "That's creepy, I'm leaving," and he left. When she told her neighbor about her daughter's friend, they would say, "You know about the boy who killed himself in your apartment, right?"
Sure.
His name was Bobby, and he did it in the bathroom. That seemed a little cliche to her. I'm not saying that she didn't believe in the imaginary friend was a spirit. She does believe it was anything but... Let's see. She says, "I do believe it was anything but an imagination." Whether it was a spirit named Bobby, she is not 100% sure on that. Other than being touched in the nursery, she did experience toys moving itself and other things. She had this bumblebee toy that was on 2 wheels. When you moved it, it made popping noises and would giggle and say, "Let's play." I can already see where this is going. And I think that would be creepy. So she left it in her car one day. She drove to work with it sliding around, and it would make those noises that she had just described, and it was very annoying. Once she arrived at work, she turned it off. Later that night, when she left work and headed to the babysitter's house to pick up her daughter, she pulled up to the front of the house, put the car in the park, turned it off, and immediately she heard, "He, I see you." She looked back and grabbed it, and sure enough, it was on the off position. So with the thing being off,
out the window.
well, close. When she got home, she threw it in the dumpster.
Oh,
She bought her.
don't need a litter, I guess. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, so she had bought her a new toy she bought the toy when she was a baby, and at this time she was almost 3. It had never said "I see you," so she had it for a couple of years. And not once did she ever hear this thing say "I see you." So that would be really creepy.
Yeah.
Though she can't really confirm who Bobo was. Maybe it was indeed an imaginary friend, or maybe it was indeed the soul of this poor boy, or maybe something else. She never really took the opportunity to find out, and I don't think she wants to. Her brother was staying with her for a while, and he slept on the couch. The story goes is actually not the first time that this has happened, but in this particular instance, has been happening on and off since her brother and her were children. She said she has a mimic. Best way she can describe it, it has only shown itself to her brother until her middle child came along. On this day, she was kind of mad because she had let him use the car, but had told him she needed it back at a certain time for an interview. He was a little late, and she was stressed out and anxious because she really wanted the job. Now, she grabbed the keys from him and left without speaking. When she came home, he had asked her if she had left and come back. She said, "I know." She said, "No, I just got done with the interview." He told me that 30 minutes prior to her coming home, he saw her walk into the living room. He asked how the interview went, but I ignored him and went into my room. About 5 minutes later, her boyfriend at the time came out and asked her brother why he kept knocking on the master bedroom door. Now, he said he didn't, and it must have been Josie. Her boyfriend said that she wasn't even home. Her brother then told him what he saw. They searched the apartment and confirmed that she was not there. So after she went to work, or went to this job interview, her brother saw her walking around the house.
And then her boyfriend heard knocking on the door.
And they assumed it was her, but she wasn't actually there.
That correlates pretty
Doppelganger.
well. Doppelganger.
Mimic spirit. I've heard of that before, but I don't think I've actually come across one.
I haven't either, but I've heard of them.
Now, other than moving of objects, sightings of herself, and knocking, occasionally uneasy feelings, there is one experience that is one of the most bizarre. And this will be the last experience that she has in this email. But in October, a friend of hers was in a fatal car
like
crash.
This year?
No, it was probably last year because this email was sent to us in September.
Okay.
So
yeah, this was not the future as she's predicting.
And it might have been even farther, looking farther down the email, it was actually a couple years back. But her friend died in a car crash. This friend of hers was also the daughter of her babysitter, who was like a mom to her. She would help her mother watch her daughter. I watched Josie's daughter. Her daughter loved the babysitter, or loved this friend so much that she started calling her Mimi. They were tied to the hip, and when she got the news, she knew that telling her daughter was going to be hard. So her mother asked if she could come over and help tell her daughter the news about the death.
The mother of the friend that passed away.
No, the mother of the person telling the story, Josie's mom.
Oh, okay.
So Josie's mom, I'm assuming that's who it was. Josie's mom asked if she could go over when she told her daughter about the death. So she went in her daughter's room and she said, "Baby, grandma's coming. Her and I have something to talk to you about." And her daughter looked up at her and with the saddest eyes and said, "Mom, something happened to Mimi. She hit a wall and got hurt, but she's okay now." Or she says she's okay now. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. She just smiled at her and told her that was great news. She left the room and called up her friend's mom to tell her what had happened. They both believe that they had a strong bond and that she didn't want to leave without saying goodbye.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like it.
That's pretty interesting.
Very cool stories, Josie. Thank you so much.
yes, thank you for sharing your stories. We really appreciate it.
And we appreciate all the likes that you smash on our Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, smash it.
No, those. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about these a little
And
bit.
I've heard of stories like that before, where
Doppelganger or
like the last one.
The last visit. One more visit.
The last visit. So Brandy's grandparents, I guess their next door neighbor.
Hit the bell.
The bell. We haven't used them forever. When the next door neighbor passed away, Brandy was actually over at her grandparents' house when it happened, and the light started to flicker and stuff. And her family was kind of confused what was going on. And Brandy had explained that it was the neighbor was basically coming over to say goodbye. So I've heard of stuff like that where people say goodbye to their loved ones before they move on.
Sure. Yeah.
The doppelganger, I've heard of that, but I don't know that I've ever experienced it.
Well, let's rewind real quick. Let's go back to this last visit. And I don't expect you guys to have answers to this, but I'm just like curious. Like, so, you pass away, the light opens to cross the other side, and you're just like, hold up, I'm just gonna go pay a visit, and like I don't know, like my mind wanders. Like, do you teleport? Do you walk the distance? Do you hitchhike in a random car? Like that's just stuff that goes through my mind. I don't know if anyone else thinks like
My
this.
thought is you do cross into the light, and then after you've crossed into the light, then you go say goodbye to everybody.
Okay. And how do you get there?
I think once you cross in the light, I think it is more of like you said, like almost like a teleportation where time doesn't exist really anymore, and you were just kind of like going. It's kind of hard to explain.
I know,
but
I don't expect you guys to have the answer.
Yeah,
but
but I think
this stuff trips me out.
Time is for the living.
yeah, time is for the living.
True.
So even like spirits that haven't crossed over, they don't have a concept of time.
Sure.
Right, but I think that if they haven't crossed over, they're not going to be able to go visit their family. They're stuck unless they're walking the distance, whatever.
Well,
but
I've seen
get
it
there.
with Brandy's grandma, for example, and I know we haven't talked about her that much in this last few episodes, but she used to go around and like kind of do checks on everybody on the old team, and it'd literally be a matter of seconds. Like, hey, what's going on at this house? And within seconds, like her grandma would be there and back telling her what's going on.
Interesting.
So I think if it's a place that they've already been to or they're familiar with, I think they can kind of teleport or go quick.
Do you guys think about
Okay.
that like I do? Or do you guys does it trip you out to think about it? I don't know.
It kind of trips me out.
It trips me the hell out when I think about things like this. Like this whole.
It's hard to wrap your head around, isn't it?
exactly
Because
exactly.
no science is involved.
No,
Right.
It's funny because
Exactly.
I've heard about spirits that are like ride along in the car with you and they sit there with you while you're driving.
Yes.
But I've also heard about spirits being able to just be like from one place to the next, just like in the
Right,
blink of
so
an
they
eye.
don't need to be in a car.
Yeah,
And maybe it's all of the above.
I have had stuff go on in my car while I'm driving, where I had the air conditioned
Yeah.
seats on, and then Brandy looks down and she's like, "Are you a little cold?" And I'm like, "No, why?" And I look down and see that the heated seats are now on instead of the air conditioned seats. It was her grandma.
Oh.
Pressing with the buttons because it was when I first got my new car.
So how does this work?
Yeah.
What's this contraption?
Yep. So yeah, I had the air conditioned seats on, and this is like summertime, right? It's like June of last year. I've got the AC, the cooled seats on, and next thing you know, I kind of felt like I didn't really put two and together. I noticed I started feeling warmer, and then that's when Brandy pointed out to me that she had switched. Her grandma had switched from the air conditioned seats to the heated seats because she wanted to see what the buttons did.
What's this R do?
All right. Yeah. So anyway, I just want to talk about that real quick. Just that. Yeah, I can't. It's hard to wrap my head around.
And I know we've got more stories that are coming from people. That I've got someone that's actually asked us a question on Facebook, and we'll get to that here in a second. But he's explained to me that he's had a lot of experiences. We've shared some of his experiences before on the show. His name is Zach or Zachary. We've shared some, like I said, we shared some of his stories, and he's got a whole bunch that he's trying to get together, and he's trying to get not just his account of what happened, but his family's account. So when he gets everything together,
a whole family affair. Nice.
Interesting.
Yep, he's got some more stories that he's going to be sending us.
I like that idea.
Josie probably has more that she'll send us, and if you've got a story that you want to send us and have us read on the show, or even if you just want us to read it, just the three of us, you're more than welcome. Like I said, just hit it up on the Instagram, Facebook, or the email, because that's where all of these stories came from, is those are your places.
All right. Let's go back to, because I cut you off. We were talking about the doppelganger.
The doppelganger.
What were we going to say about it? You believe in that concept?
Well, so shape-shifting spirits are a thing.
Okay.
Like, I've heard about spirits that, basically inhuman spirits, they don't really have a form. They can kind of turn themselves to look like whatever they want. And sometimes they always have like a defect because they've never actually been human. So they do their best to look human, but they're not always, there's always something missing. Like the hand will be jacked up or their eyes will be gone.
I've heard that. All right, and I even wonder too if this is like Josie in another time realm, and they just kind of paralleled each other. And she did that. She walked in the house and she went into the room, and she's done that many times. And just a replay of her doing that. Who knows?
I have some friends that had a situation with a doppelganger. They were at an Airbnb in Austin, Texas, and there was a bunch of them that all went there together for like a wedding or something. Anyways, on one of these days, they kind of like, some people stayed at the house, and some people went out for the day. The people that stayed home noticed that one of the persons that had gone out that day was all of a sudden walking through the house, and they tried calling out to her to see why she was back or whatever, and no one there, nothing there. You know, obviously she was with that other group that wasn't there at the house, but multiple people had seen her there all of a sudden. And then multiple things were happening that week while they were at that house, like the remote control would be disappeared, or the TV turning on and off randomly.
Interesting.
Well, I've seen that in movies too, where there's a spirit that looks or sounds like a certain individual, even though that person's not actually there. I've had something similar like that. I've actually had something similar like that to happen to me. And I don't know for sure if it is like a mimic or a doppelganger type spirit, but we're using an Ovilus on an investigation, and I had it in phonetic mode and not dictionary mode. And the voice that was coming through this device was my voice. Which it's not a device. The Ovilus, I think it was the Ovilus 3 at the time. There's no feature on there for you to record your voice. It's phonetic mode. Is just you have it set up, and whatever the spirit says, it tries to tell you. It tries to sound it out phonetically.
So it came in like a deep baritone voice?
Yeah, not just a deep baritone voice. It was my voice. Like everyone that heard it, it sounded like me talking through the device.
What did it say?
I can't remember all the words that it said, but I do remember it sounded like me.
Interesting.
Coming through the Ovilus.
I had a dream about a doppelganger, and I did not like that dream. It was very creepy. My own doppelganger.
Oh, it's like the movie Us.
I've never seen it.
Have you seen that?
I think I have, but I don't remember what it is.
The Hands Across America. It starts out with a kid at a carnival, and she goes in the House of Mirrors, and she looks, and there's like the other version of her.
Yes.
Yeah. And then like when she's older, grown up, has her own family, they open up the door on this vacation house, and there's a
Yeah.
family that looks exactly like.
I didn't like it. I didn't like that movie. At
I
all.
know of the movie.
You didn't you didn't thought it was dumb, or you just
think
thought it
it's
was
dumb. All of Jordan Peele's movies have not. They've all been strikeouts for me.
okay.
I
I thought it was an interesting concept.
I like the concept, but it wasn't executed very well. I like that Jordan Peele's trying to get into like horror and everything, but I don't think he's doing a good job at making things scary.
No,
I don't think
I've
he's
only
doing
seen
the-
that one, so I've.
There's 3 movies that I've seen of his so far and I've not liked any of them. They haven't done it.
It
for
didn't
me.
look interesting. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I didn't care for that movie.
But that's the same concept, I
So,
guess.
so
like
yeah, I had
doppelganger.
I had a dream. I was in my bedroom from where I was living at the time. So I'm in my dream. I'm in my bedroom. I look in my mirror, and over the shoulder is another me. And in the mirror, the other me, looked like it was about to yawn, but then it yawned, and the mouth just grew so big, and it freaked me out. And I punched the mirror and turned around. Nothing was there, and I woke up. And I woke up. This was probably 25 something years ago, and I still remember this dream because it freaked me out. I did not like this dream. Getting goosebumps telling this story.
Oh no!
Spooky, spooky stuff.
So Ghosty and I did some energy work not too long ago.
Yes.
We did, and it was trippy how this all came about. Like, I got a text message from a random number. I didn't know that they got my number from a friend, and was looking for some help. And I just remember, like, the whole next day just, like, being super irritated and, like, upset about it. I actually was trying to pawn the energy work off onto some other energy workers that I know. And my friend Allie was actually like, no, this is one that you need to take care of. And before I went to the energy work, I was still like, the whole next couple days, I was just like, I didn't feel like myself. I just felt like something was off. And I had actually scheduled a Reiki session with her. And when I went to Synchronicities, where we had the Reiki session, when I walked into the room, before the workers have their clients come in, they cleanse the energy in the room. They sage it, and they do their thing and bring positive energy in the room. And this is the first time ever I actually stepped foot into the room after she had kind of saged and cleansed the energy. And I instantly stepped right back out of the room and looked around, and she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't like the energy that's in here. I'm like, it just doesn't feel right. And she's like, okay. And eventually I was able to walk into the room and laid down and closed my eyes so we could start the Reiki session. And this is the first time that when I've had someone doing energy work with me, I felt scared. I was nervous. I was afraid. And at one point I thought she was going to try to kill me, to be honest with you. I just kept picturing her like strangling me. Like, cause when she was doing the Reiki work, she had her hands near my chest, throat area. And I just kept seeing in my head her grabbing my throat and just trying to strangle me.
This is it. This is how I got.
I know how she feels.
It was, but the thing that it kind of clicked was like when I first closed my eyes, I realized that these thoughts and emotions weren't mine. I had actually saw over my left shoulder this little imp figure thing. It was just all black. It's like kind of you see in the movies, like the long, pointed tail, the pointed ears. I saw this little thing sitting on my shoulder, and it made me like a little scared, to be honest with you. And so I started calling in, my spirit guides, and I tried to call in like Archangel Raphael, who is like the Archangel of Healing. And once I did that, I was able to kind of calm down, and then we were able to finish the Reiki session like normal. And that's, when we got done, I realized that I had gotten attachment. And it was most likely, what I decided was most likely from this person that had reached out to me. So I'd actually hit up Ghosty, and I'm like, hey, I need your help with this. Because I didn't know where this thing had actually come from and how bad it was. I just knew that at this point, because it was trying to intervene to get me to not do the energy work, that I was going to be able to do the energy work, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know exactly where this thing came from. That's why I wanted you there. I wanted 2 of us there in case we had to like cleanse the home or anything. And when we got there, I don't know about you, but I didn't feel like there was anything negative in the home.
No.
I think we determined that this thing was actually came from the house that she had just moved out of. And she still had kind of like a cord attaching her to this family that she had just moved out of their house. And this thing, in my opinion, was down there with this other family. And it was trying to stop us from breaking this cord, breaking this attachment. And this person was, I remember some of the stuff that she told us. She was suicidal, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. And there was just all sorts of other things going on with her. And so we actually started out, had you do your thing first and clear her aura, cut the cords and all that. And then after you left, I helped her kind of release some of those emotions that were holding her back. Mm-hmm. So, and last I've heard, she's doing really well.
And that was kind of like what I was seeing. It was like more of like an attachment of like, it looked like there was like some self-healing she needed to do. And one of those attachments she had was like of like something that she needed to, detach from.
Yeah.
Of herself.
That's good.
But yeah, just how this whole thing started out just was very unusual for me because I've never had like something get attached to me like that without me knowing about it. So I actually had this thing with me for a couple of days before I finally realized it, and we were able to get it to go away. And from what I understand, it's not bothering her anymore either.
That's good.
So yeah, it's really interesting experience.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
Excellent. All right, so we have the last question here.
Yes.
So like Beaker said, this is from Zach on the Facebook. And he asked the question, 2 questions actually. What is the place you would want to investigate the most? And the second question, and is there any place you wouldn't investigate? So I'll attack this one first, and I'll go down the line or whatever. Any place I want to investigate the most, I can't think of any names off the top of my head right now, but I definitely want to do castles, either like in Scotland or Ireland.
I've got one for you.
Like the name of one? Do you know one?
Bran Castle.
Yes. That's one I was thinking of too. I just spaced it, but
that's
I know
in Romania.
Is it Romania?
That's in Romania.
So I want to do, and I say Ireland or Scotland because I want to go golfing afterwards because I do want to do like check out some pubs, specifically more Ireland. But yeah, Ram Castle.
Bran, B-R-A-N, Bran, like raisin bran.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking something. Isn't there one called Ram Castle? And
it's the ancient Ram Inn.
Yes.
There's the ancient Ram Inn in London.
Yes, that was one I was thinking of.
Yes,
more.
I did talk about that one when I was on Bacon Cell. That has the succubus.
That's the succubus.
So that was one that comes to mind. But any of these potential castles that are not used today.
So another castle. I guess this one is used today, but the Tower of London.
Oh, okay. Tower of London.
Tower of London, very haunted. We could talk about that on an episode if you guys want.
But I do want to do
Bran
an abandoned castle. I need to look at Bran Castle. I don't know that
Bran
one.
Castle is actually in Romania, and this is like top of my list.
Oh, okay.
This is actually believed to be the home.
So is this your answer to this question?
This is
then?
the answer to my
Okay.
yes. This is my answer. Bran Castle is, like I said, in Romania. It is believed to be the home of Vlad the Impaler.
Ah, okay. Any place that I wouldn't want to investigate? Actually, for me, there's none. I don't mind investigating any place in the world. So that's my answer. None. How about you, Beaker? Is there a place that you do not want to investigate?
Not really. Probably I don't know. Paveli Island comes to mind, but I'd probably still go there.
That the one with the... Wait, which one's that one?
That's in Italy.
Pigvegli is the one that's off the coast of Italy.
Is that by the lighthouse?
It's a little island where they would go to die, pretty much.
They would ship off the people with the plague. Anyone that
yes.
showed any sign of sickness, they'd ship them off there.
I know exactly what
And
you're
then
talking
they
about.
eventually built like a mental hospital there. They had a doctor that would perform like lobotomies and stuff. And then eventually like all the experiments and stuff that he did drove him mad. So he jumped off the bell tower.
Is it then Ghost Adventures go there and it was the one where they wore that mask?
Yeah.
Probably.
That had, what are those masks called where they have like the doctors wore them with like the long nose
Oh, are you
looking.
talking
They're
about
like the plague masks. Yeah.
Is that what it
stuff
was?
with flowers.
What was the point of
so
that?
they don't smell the death rotting.
Yeah.
So those were filled with flowers.
So yeah, they'd have flowers or like potpourri and stuff in the masks.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
so they, like he said, they couldn't smell the death.
Okay, and I know on that episode on Ghost Adventures they heard footsteps run up on him, kind of freaked him out. Sounded pretty good, but who knows? But sounded good.
Honestly, I don't know that there's any place I wouldn't go.
Okay, fair enough. And then Ghosty, your answers?
Where
do you wanna go
places locally in the U.S.? I don't have any like specific places like actual buildings, but the cities of like Savannah, Georgia, and New Orleans,
Okay.
and like St. Augustine.
We should go to Myrtle's Plantation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to go
It's a
check
bed and
out.
breakfast.
Actually, we definitely should. We definitely should do that.
Once you heard food, you're like, yes, this is a must.
This is a must do. But yeah, I think some of these places here in the States I would love to do, as well as, like you said, castles. And then I think the one place I wouldn't investigate is in the catacombs
Oh, why is that?
In Paris or Edinburgh?
in Paris, and mainly because of getting lost down there.
Oh, okay.
I would be afraid of getting lost.
What if we
and
tied a
not-
rope around you?
What if it wouldn't
Breadcrumbs,
work? I've seen movies where
breadcrumbs.
it doesn't work.
As below, as above,
Yeah.
so below is not real.
Are you
That's-
sure?
That movie's actually based on Dante's Inferno and the 7 Layers of Hell.
I thought it was based on a true story. Whew.
It is.
So the catacombs because you're afraid to get lost.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the only main reason is I would be afraid to take a wrong turn and not know how to get back, and then end up being down there for
Breadcrumbs.
days.
Breadcrumbs.
Doesn't that happen to people that get stuck down there?
I don't know.
Don't they have tour
Maybe we'll
guides?
have to look
Yeah,
into it.
I know they have tour guides and stuff, but I'm talking about like just
Investigating.
free for all. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Well, Zach, thanks for the question. It's actually I really like that question. That was a good one. Because I hear that a lot of where would you want to go, but I don't hear much of like where would you not want to go. So that's actually a good one.
Your mom's house.
Yeah,
Look,
because
she
she'll
has
cook you
cookies.
an amazing meal.
Yeah. Thanksgiving's coming up.
She cooks an amazing Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Should we call that an episode?
All right, guys.
All right. Well, you know what? Don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
Have a good night, or good morning, or afternoon.
This is the EVP Podcast.